Re. Okay, welcome again, everyone. We will gather everyone from the house again. Almost everyone is here, so we will start very shortly. Solid is back.
He's going to send the people to the television.
Yes.
Eventually, it's going to be the laundry area while it's raining.
Okay, perfect. Welcome back, everyone. So I hope you had a nice break. It was a bit of a short break, but yes, today we have a big agenda. So let's start. So today we will have the fourth session. So it's gonna be a session about Starknet and more especially about smart contracts. So basically, now we are at the fourth session, and tomorrow will be the last one. So we are actually almost done with the Basecamp. Okay, so today session will be about installing dependency. So we will install all the dependency that you will need to compile Cairo code and to code in Cairo on your laptop. And then we will have a counter example workshop. So basically, we will make a counter example as a smart contract. So it's going to be a smart contract that's going to count. So 1, 2, 3, nothing crazy. I mean, that's going to hold the number, and you will be able to add number to the counter, and the counter will increase. Okay, so let's start straight away. So first, you will need to install some dependency on your local machine. Oops, sorry, I was not sharing my screen. Okay, and no one said anything. Okay, thank you very much, Daniel, for letting me know that you couldn't see my screen. Okay, so basically the slides were not crazy up to now. So fourth session today, topics. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the dependency. So basically what we will install today is ASDF. So you can see it as a library manager. So it's going to help you manage, install the dependency, but also track the version, update the versions and everything. Then we will install SCARB. So SCARB is a packet manager. It's what you need to code in Cairo. So if you are familiar with Rust, SCARB is actually a very similar product. And then we will install Starknet Foundry, which is a little bit like on Ethereum, and it's used to make tests and to test your smart contract. And yes, then also I will show you how to add Cairo to your VS Code. So you can add an extension that's going to have the language server in Cairo. That's going to be added to your VS Code so that when you code, you have the language server connected that will like give you some cue about what's wrong in your code and also help you navigate through it. Okay, so let's do this counter workshop. So there is an official workshop GitHub repo, but I'm not gonna follow this repo. I'm gonna send it to you in the chat at the end of the session so that you can go through it at your own time if you are interested. But I'm actually gonna follow the documentation of Nethermind, so the Starknet by example documentation. Because it's I don't know, I like this resource. So I really recommend you to go through this resource. So before today, we saw the Cairo book. So as I mentioned, the Cairo book is the documentation of the Cairo language. And Starknet, by example, is more a documentation for smart contracts. So it explains all the smart contract aspects that you might need to know to code a smart contract in Cairo. It's giving example, and yeah, it's very clear. It's a very good documentation. You can read through it and you will learn a lot of things. So I also recommend you to read this. So the Cairo book is more to learn Cairo as a language, and this Starknet by example is more to learn about smart contracts in Cairo. So let's dive into it. First, you will need to install the dependency. So as I mentioned, you have to actually let's jump to the Cairo book for dependency installation. So in the Cairo book, you have a section called installation. So I invite you all to open it. That's actually explaining how to install Cairo. So every time I need to install Cairo, I actually go back to the Cairo book and just follow the links because it's easier. Okay, so you can click here, download Scarb. Then you have download, install via ASDF. Okay. And then official plugin. Okay. So here you can go through this. Okay. So yes, ASDF. Wait, no, that's not gonna work if you don't have ASDF installed. Okay, yes. First, you have to install ASDF. So to install ASDF, wow, there's too many links. Oh, that's actually a bit messy. Sorry. Install via ASDF, and then first install ASDF by following the official installation guide. Okay, let's go. Now I'm working on Homebrew, so I'm gonna brew install. So this is gonna install curl and git because you will need them to um, for everything. Do you guys have this or should I send it? I'm gonna send it in the chats. Up. Okay. Guys, I sent the link in the chat if you want. Okay, so then I can now that the dependency are installed, I can download ASDF. It's still fetching. Shouldn't.
I think you need to install.
Okay, so here also yeah, small warning, like as you may see, the OS support is actually only for Linux and Mac. So if you have a Windows, you need to have a way to use the Linux on your machine. So either a dual boot or a virtual machine, or in your terminal, you can also also like allow you can also have like a Mac support. So what I recommend is always dual boot because I mean that's my favorite. I always dual boot when I'm on Windows because I think it's when you are a developer at least it's the best. But you have a lot of options depending on what you need and how often you want to use Linux. Okay, so now I clone the repository. Okay, so here it's not working because I already have it installed, but this line should work for you guys. So, okay. Once it's download, you can install ASDF. So here it depends on your terminal. So mine is ZSH and Homebrew. It's most likely yours if you are using Mac. And but yes, depending on your terminal, you can download it. So normally when you open your terminal, you know, like it should say it's somewhere like here you have ZSH, so you know that it's that your terminal is ZSH. And I think in Bash it says like around here it should say it's a Bash terminal. Okay. So sorry. So now you can copy this this line. It's gonna add ASDF as a path variable. So when you type ASDF, you have the command line interface installed. Okay. Are you guys set up? Okay. Pardon? You have the Linux? No, okay. I will come back to that to you later, but basically, don't try to do it on a laptop or the station. But don't worry, it's gonna be not fully hands-on, so you will. Okay, so let's get back to the next step. So now we have ASDF installed, first dependency. Now we can install SCARB. Okay, I'm gonna send you the link. That's okay. So now that you have ASDF installed, you can use it to install SCARB. So basically, you can first do this line, you add SCARB. Okay. Then waiting for the plane. Okay. Sorry about planes. Now you can do this line is gonna list all the version of SCARB. So there's a bunch of them. We will install the latest one, which is actually this one, so we can copy. So with this, you can actually decide what version you want to set. So so you can decide to install specific versions. It's very important because H.E.R is changing very often. So you need to care about the version very often, because sometimes some code only works for previous version. Sometimes you have to put a version up to date. So you actually will use SCARB you will use ASDF a lot to update SCARB. Okay, so now you can run SCARB version. Actually, don't know what my version is currently. Okay, so my version is 2.8.0, and then you can ASDF SCARB global, and then 8 point. You can set a version like this. I think it's global and then SCARB. Okay, and then now I set my version to the new one. Okay, you can do that so that now your every time you do a SCARB project, you will have that version. Oh, you can do it here. Okay. Does everyone has ASDF installed on their laptop? Okay. Maybe guys in the room, if some of you can mentor each other, and if some people have managed to install it, maybe you can help each other. Okay.
Awesome. Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah, my space is there, so it's not actually-
I installed.
We only need that one link that you shared. Like, so I'm trying to get all the links for the install so I can do it later. But you shared you shared one link, and is that everything in there or no?
pardon?
The link that you shared in the messenger.
Okay, yeah, so I should share two links. One was ASDF, the library manager, and then one was SCARB. So first you install ASDF and then you install SCARB.
I'm not seeing the first one though.
Okay.
I will share.
Is there, yeah, I don't know why it's not. Maybe I came in after she. Yeah, I can't copy the screen though, you know? We have, oh, you shared this? Oh, cool.
Yes, command not found ASDF, right?
Okay, guys in the room, can you like raise your hand if you have it installed? Okay. Oh, you have to install Brew first. Okay, so if you don't have Brew installed on your laptop, you have to download Brew. Basically, Brew is super easy to install. You can ask ChatGPT download Brew Mac, and then it's gonna give you the line, and it's gonna be, yeah. So yeah, you have to make sure. I mean, depending on what OS you're using, and depending on you need to have the dependency installed. So I mean, Brew is to download dev packages and libraries, and yeah.
Then try the code.
For me, I have brew installed.
Yes.
If I'm doing which brew,
Mhm.
it is giving the brew. But when I'm trying to do this code, when I'm trying to add this, it's saying ASDF not found.
Okay, you have to first install ASDF so
I
you can.
installed it using this,
Okay.
and it was successful.
Okay, then you have scroll down. So to install install ASDF, there is 3 steps. So first you have to install the dependency, then you have to clone the repository and then and install it, and then you have to add it to your path variable. So let me show you again. So ASDF here. So first here you install the dependency. So if you are using a Homebrew, you can do this line. Then you have to download ASDF. So this is this line here. And then depending on your combination of shell and OS, you have to choose which one you have. It's very likely that you have ZSH and Homebrew. You can copy this line. So 3 steps. Perfect. You have it installed?
Now I will do the stable version.
I know it's my,
Ouais. On continue? Okay. Okay, guys, can you raise your hand if you have it installed now? Okay, okay. Okay, amazing. So don't hesitate to like okay, perfect. Don't hesitate to help your neighbor and ask a question to the neighbor. If your neighbor just had a hand in the air. Okay, let's dive into the topic of today. So we will follow this document. You all do in the chat, I mean online, if you have your own reason, if it's for a question, let me know. If it was just to mention that you installed the dependency, perfect. Okay, so as I mentioned in the beginning of the session, we will follow Starknet by example documentation so that you also can reread it at your own time later, and you can like have this as a learning material. So we will check the basic of a smart contract in Cairo in order to create a smart contract example of a counter. So first, we will check what the storage is. So the storage is required when you have a smart contract. So here you have an example of the most minimum, the smallest possible smart contract possible. So you have 3 things. You have these decorators that says that it's going to be a smart contract. You have a module that is named contracts. And this modules only contains storage that is decorated with this. And that contain a structure that is storage that can be empty, but that is required. Okay, so this is the most minimal smart contract that you can write. So those decorators are going to tell your compiler this one that it's a Starknet smart contract, and this one that the structure is a storage. So that will allow special function to the module contract and to the storage structure. Okay, so we will start it hands-on and create a project. So let's create a project. So now that you have Scarb installed on your computer, you can use the line Scarb new, and then you can call it workshop. So here it's asking what test runner you want to set up. So I recommend that you set up Foundry because it's better for smart contract testing. Okay, so yes, if you don't have Foundry installed on your laptop, Foundry, Starknet, you can install it on the repository. So Foundry is super easy to install. Let me share you this link. So this is the GitHub repo of Foundry. Once you are in the repo, you can scroll down up to the section installation. Then you have to run this line that's gonna install Foundry, and then you can run Foundry up and it's gonna be installed on your machine. Let's do it together. Up, and now Foundry. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so now I created a Scarb project called Workshop. Let's check it together. Okay, so when you create a Scarb project using Foundry, it's gonna be set up as a smart contract project. So you will have all the setup in the Scarb project that's gonna be set for a H.E.R contract. So it's actually saving you a lot of time. Okay, so you need to have the dependency of Starknet. You need to have the test set as SN4 test so that you have the test for the smart contract. So that's very good. You don't have to, you don't have to do anything. It's already done for you. And then you have actually an Hello World example that is already exists when you create your smart contract, your Scarb repo like this. You already have some code that is set up. So you can go ahead and delete everything because we will start from scratch, and let's get started. So, okay, we will start by creating the most minimum smart contracts that exist. Up. So I copied, sorry, I was maybe a bit fast. I went back to the documentation of Starknet by example, and then copy pasted the example of the storage. Okay. So now we are here. We have the contract. Let's call it counter because we are making a counter. And in the storage, I will initialize a counter. Up. Okay. So now we have a H.E.R contract that we can build. Okay, so it compiles, we can build it. And now we have a very, very tiny smart contract with a counter storage.
The using the Starknet by example GitHub, or no, you're not doing the GitHub.
No, I can send you the resource. Where are you guys? Okay, so this is the link of the material that we are following right now.
Can you tell project creation steps again?
Pardon?
Project creation steps.
Okay, so I will go ahead and say the steps again. So to create the projects, right here. To create the project, what I did was to first, let me clear this, SCARB new workshop. Okay. Then I ran the workshop to get into the directory of the workshop, and then code to open VS Code in the directory. Okay, so okay, let's continue. So now we will talk about constructor.
Yeah. Yeah, no, right now she's going to, she's like,
guys in the room, everybody seems to be like super confused. Guys, everybody seems to be super confused. So if you want, what I suggest is that you don't try to be hands-on now, because it's actually a bit more theoretical. Like I'm covering the theoretical knowledge of the smart contract, and maybe you can try to do it hands-on later. So the session is a bit less messy, and we can go through all of it, and you can just watch for now. If you are managing to follow hands-on, that's amazing, and I encourage you to try. But if you are like too confused, don't try to install ASDF now. Like if you didn't manage, it's okay. You can do it at your own time, and you can follow this session not hands-on. Okay, so as I was saying, we saw a first feature of a Starknet smart contract, which is the storage, which is a very basic feature of a smart contract in general. So basically, your storage is what's going to be stored on the blockchain. Yes, now we will see the constructor. So the constructor is a special kind of function. The constructor is a function that will only run when you deploy your contract, and it's going to initialize the state of your contract. So it's going to initialize your storage, basically. So here you can see an example of constructor. So let's I will copy the copy the example and put it here up. Okay, so it's not gonna work, but up. So we will in the constructor put the name a variable counter that has to be U32 to initialize the counter. Okay, so the counter takes two arguments: the contract state that it's gonna initialize, and the counter, and the variable counter to set to initialize the value. Okay, counter writes So write is a special method for storage variable that allow you to write in the storage. So when you want to write the storage, you have to use the function write. And when you want to read, you have to use the function read. Okay. So now this function is initializing the variable counter to whatever function you will give to whatever variable you will give to the constructor. Okay. So we can check. Okay, it's perfect. The code is working. Okay, so now let's talk about variables. So there is 3 types of variable in a H.E.R smart contract: local, storage, and global. So basically here we only have a storage variable, but if I initialize a variable here, like it's going to be a local variable that's not going to be accessed anywhere else. So only inside of the smart contract, only inside the function constructor. In this example, you can use this function. And if you want to have a global variable, you can actually import a variable from a library. You can import a variable from a library, actually, from a package. And it's going to be a global variable. Okay. Who did someone do that? Okay. That's mysterious. Okay. Don't know what happened. Okay. So yes, if the person who did this, if it's me, I'm very sorry, but thank you. Okay. So now we will talk about visibility and mutability a little bit. So the visibility is, can your function be accessed only in the smart contract or also outside of the smart contract? So there are functions that are going to be only accessible internally and some other externally. So in our example, we want to create a function that's going to be accessible externally, because we want people to be able to increase the counter. So we will only have an externally accessible function. And here you can see in the doc that the function that are externally accessible are annotated with this. So this is a decoration on top of the function that will Solène, what are you doing? Ah ouais?
That's not her because her.
Oh, I saw her name. Okay. Okay. But
It's the
Okay.
person, it's the person.
uh,
Sounds like they hacked inside of them.
I have no idea.
Speaking in French, you know, French message. Is that going hard actually? What person?
Okay, so I think it's Akash. I'm not sure, but can you delete the images, or Aman? Is it Aman?
Now it said Amen, but at first it
Before it
was.
wasn't that.
Okay. I will let you like 30 seconds to delete this, please. Otherwise, I will ask the Zoom moderator to 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 put you out of the call. Or maybe I can delete it. That's weird. This is not an art class. Okay, so sorry for that. I will continue. Our devoted Zoom moderator is working on it. Thank you, Raquel. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we will actually see the counter example. So the Starknet by example has a counter example. So let's check it out. And let's start building the function of our smart contracts. So here you can see that it has an interface that describes the function of the smart contracts. We are back on. So now that we have a basic understanding of the basic feature of smart contract in Cairo, we will go ahead and start implementing the smart contracts in VS Code. So as I mentioned, we will start by creating an interface with the function that we need in our smart contracts. So here I copy this to have the syntax up. Okay, so I will create a function that's gonna be called get counts and increase. Okay, I'm gonna add here a variable amount. Okay, so basically here you can be pretty much creative. So you can yeah, you can create your functions, you can code what you want. So but for this example, I'm just gonna make a very basic counter that's gonna have two functions. So one of them is gonna be increase. It's gonna change the value of the storage, and yes, it's taking an amount in parameter and also the contract stage that it's going to change. So as I'm changing the contract stage, contract states, I need to have it referenced. I need to have it by reference. And when you want to just have information and you're not going to change the contract states, so you're not going to modify the storage, you can just have your smart contract as a snapshot like this. So actually, those are two very different kind of function. So both are accessible externally, but one of them is going to actually modify the state of the blockchain. So increase is actually going to modify the state of the blockchain. So it's a function that will waiting. So yes, it's a function that will cost some gas fee because you will actually do a transaction and modify the state of the blockchain. And get count is actually not going to cost gas fee. It's a view function. You can call it to just get the information of the count. Okay, so let's implement it. So as I mentioned, the smart contract needs to be decorated by this decorator. So this actually says that the function that will be below are accessible outside of the blockchain. Okay, so I'm going to implement counter of, I'm going to call it up. So this is the interface. It's called I counter. I is for interface and then counter for the name. So here I implement I counter of the I counter. So right here, okay. So I need to implement two functions, increase and get count. So function increase. I'm going to copy the parameters, copy the signature, and then code it. So, okay. And then, so my function is gonna first read the smart contract. self counter read. Okay. So current counts is reading. So here in my increase function so far, I'm looking at the contract states, looking at the contract state counter and reading the value. And then I assign it to the value current count. And now I'm gonna write it in the storage variable counter, but I will increase it with amounts. Okay. Okay, so now we have done the increase function. We can now do the get count. Okay, so it takes the contract state.
Not weird.
Okay, so I just copied the signature of this and writing it here. And what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna read the counter and return the value. Up. So here I read the value and I actually return it in the same line. Okay. Oops. So yes, so now that's it. We have the smart contract example of the counter that is coded. So that's as simple as this. And so now we can go ahead and deploy it. So this is the part where I am a bit terrified of the live effect, of course. So let's go back to the documentation. So far we covered the basic up until 1.5 section. And now we will jump to deploy and interact with contracts. Okay, so to deploy and interact with a contract, you can do it super easily. I am gonna skip this for timing reasons, but basically, this is a few lines that you can make to create an account. So here you create a directory, you create with Starknet, which is a CLI tool to help you. You create a key store, so it's going to create a signer that's going to sign the transactions for you. You create it and then you import it as an environment variable. Then you create an account. So here it's creating an OpenZeppelin account. Then you deploy it, and then that's it. You actually have your signer on your laptop. So you have a file that has your key store. So this file contains your key. You write it in your path variable so you can access it with your command line easily. And then you can initialize the account. And after that, you will have your account set up in the terminal, and you can start interacting with functions, with contracts. So you will actually this line will actually give you the hash of your account, and then you can check it out on the Starknet. Yes. Okay, so when you have an account that is declared and deployed, you can declare and deploy smart contracts. So here I'm gonna do it with mine. So let's check what is happening here. So check. I need the I need to build. Okay. Yep. So basically, I need to have the bytecode. So here I'm taking the contract bytecode that is in the target directory. And then I can give access. So here I need to give the path of my wallet. So I need to remember the path. So check. Ooh. Okay. Two. I think that's my path. Oops. Okay, so you can basically just type your path. Up. And then, of course, this is not the good, the correct. Let me quickly check.
Solène,
Okay.
can you share the code? The code. Someone is asking for the code in the chat. Oh, she's gonna phone you.
She got to come inside the. I know the code. Okay.
All right, okay, install Linux and reboot that. Let's see the Ubuntu file.
And yes, so here I declare this this file, this smart contract, and now I have the answer. So my class is declared. I can go on Starkscan and oops, I can go on Starkscan and for Voyageur. I'm gonna send the code that I just did at the end of the session. I can send it now. You will not find it anywhere because I just did it right now. It's like a.
Yes, c'est pas le compteur workshop.
Pardon?
C'est pas le compteur workshop de d'habitude.
No, it's a very random counter code that I made. It's probably super similar to a lot of them,
Yeah.
but it's very new from today. Fresh, fresh newly. Okay. So now let's look at it. Okay, I'm probably not on, I'm probably on mainnet. Yes, I am. So I have to go on Sepolia because I'm doing it on Sepolia. Okay, I copied the code. So now I need to get this back. Okay. Huh. What happened? Okay, maybe it's not live yet. Let me check the transaction. Okay, the transaction is already here. And the class hash. Yeah, the class hash is here. Okay, so my transaction went through. You can see it here. So this is just the transaction of the declaration. So now I will deploy the contract. So it's almost the same line with a little bit of with a few differences. So deploy. And then here I have to put the class hash. And now I have a lot of errors. Okay. What's happening? The contract, delivery at your address, transaction has failed. Class hash, unknown location. Oh, what's happening? Error in the gold contract. Okay. Hmm.
Hola, buenas, ¿cómo estás? ¿Ah?
¿Me entiendes?
Sí, entiendo.
Vale, que era lo que te iba a haber dicho. En Valo la bici, la compré en la vaca del coche y el domingo yo llego. Lo único que llego sobre las 10 y poco, como mucho.
10 por la mañana.
No, por la noche.
Ah, por la noche.
I
Ok,
actually
vale,
don't know
está bien. ¿A qué zona vas?
what is
¿En cuál parte de la
A
ciudad
lot of people
para
is having
ver?
problem with installation.
Si
But it's
puedes
going to
desplazarte al
be
plan,
impossible to
y
solve
Okay, it's not
them
open.
now.
Desde,
A lot of people is having problems with installation.
Okay, so
desde
to avoid
prep
this, I
Should
actually
we
did
some
it
kind of
before,
channel or something
and
like
I'm gonna
that for
cheat
support?
and just
Así, support,
look at the hash that
sí, es más,
that I have on my notes.
que es la historia. Entonces, si no sería entregártela.
up to you. I can help answering the question.
Sorry about this. So, because of the
sí,
live
sí,
demo
si
effect,
quieres,
Because now it's going
I
to be
cannot
impossible.
deploy it, but basically it should
It's
have
more if the
went
Linux is
through
failing. It's like
and
Vale, venga,
it should
pues
have
luego te mando
given
fotos y vídeos
a result like
cómo la
this.
han embalado y demás, ¿vale?
Ah,
Y voy a ver si puedo anular la compra, que digo yo que sí.
sí.
A ti por Wallapop no te sale ninguna opción de cancelar
so it's
compra
up
o
to you
algo.
if say that we are going to the support group or not.
Okay,
Because also I
so
have to leave
Sí,
now.
puedo mirar,
because
pero
So
we can check it out, and
Miro yo
that's
y
the
si
one
no,
I did
pues,
yesterday.
¿vale?
We can check
perfecto.
read contract. The one I did was had a slightly different name, but basically does the same thing. So here we have two functions, get balance. We can query the function and have this. I'm actually gonna send this into the chat so that you can open it and check it out better. I'm even gonna send you this so you have the full thing. Okay, so that you can open and see the contract. So yes, it's a very similar code, but it's a little bit different, but it's doing the same thing. So we have two functions, get balance. It doesn't ask me to connect my wallets because it's not using any gas fee, because it's just query and it's just a read contract, and the write contract actually requires you to connect your wallet in order to make a transaction. So I'm going to connect the Bravos account that I did yesterday. And okay. And I'm going to get connected. I'm going to add a number, and I don't have any, oops, I forgot to put some, let's do this now. Let's get some Sepolia testnets. Okay, I hope that today it's gonna work. Up, let's get some Stark from the faucets. And then, no, that's not the crosswalk. That's very bad for demo effect. The Sepolia faucet is one of the most terrifying part of live demo. Okay, so I hope this worked. Okay, amazing. So now I have some Sepolia money. So see how fast that was. It's so smooth. So I just received it on my wallet. Now I can do the transaction again. Okay, now I'm gonna sign. And here you can see the amount of Stark that it is. So it's very, very cheap, as I mentioned yesterday. So if someone wants to read this as a number, as a price, you can go ahead and say like a tenth of a penny. So yes, so I'm gonna pay a tenth of a penny now to make my transaction, which is very fun. It's very cheap, but it's on Simple, yeah. So it's fake money anyway, but it would be the same price on mainnet. Okay, so now I did my transaction. I can check. Oops, sorry, I opened the other one. I can see my activity on my wallet. Okay, so my account was deployed, my balance was increased. So actually the deployment of the account wasn't done by me. That's also like a good feature of smart wallets in Starknet, is that it's handled by the wallet provider, which is very nice. And then so it's very good for UX, as I was saying during the account abstraction session and the smart wallet session. Okay, so now I perform the transaction and I can go back to read. And now we have this number. So because it's in hexadecimal, it's cringe, but basically this is 11 in hexadecimal. So in decimal, yes. So yeah, be careful. Like when you see a number that start with 0 then X, it's gonna be in hexadecimal. So I can put it in decimal here. So okay, so it's more intelligible. But a lot of time in Cairo, you will have outputs as hexadecimal values, and sometimes you might think, okay, that's not the value I was expecting. It actually is. It's just in hexadecimal. Okay, so if you guys want, you can try to increase the balance of the smart contracts. Otherwise, we will end the session here. So if you have any question, it's you can ask the question now. All good? Okay, thank you everyone. Yes, so I'm just gonna say about the documentation. The documentation we cover today are Cairo book and Starknet by example, which is here in the optional part of the slide. So I encourage you to check out the documentation. You can also read the Starknet book and the Starknet Foundry. And then yes, see you tomorrow for the next session, and thank you for coming today. Thank you.
Bisous.
Est-ce qu'on a oublié de record, Soso? Ok, ça va. J'ai paniqué.